What a night for Celtic fans, folks. This wasn't just another game. This was a statement. Celtic 3, Rangers 1, and honestly, that scoreline barely tells the whole story. From the first whistle, you could feel the energy shift. The crowd was electric, the players were buzzing, and for the first time in a long while, it felt like every single person in green and white was on the exact same page. You could almost taste that fire, that hunger, that sense that this team had something to prove, and they did it in style. The intensity was unreal. Right from kickoff, Celtic pressed like their lives depended on it. Rangers couldn't breathe in that first half. Every pass, every touch, every clearance they tried to make was met with a green wall charging right back at them. It's been a while since we've seen that kind of Celtic football, fearless, fast, and ruthless. You know that feeling when you're watching and you think, this is the Celtic we know? That's exactly what it was. And what a difference a fresh start can make. Since the managerial shakeup, you can see it in the players' faces. That sparks back. They're fighting for every ball, running like their hearts are on fire, and the belief is there again. You can't fake that kind of energy. It's not just tactics, it's pride. It's Celtic football played the Celtic way, on the front foot, never backing down, and making sure the opposition feels every second of it. Dyson Maeda, by the way, deserves massive credit. That man was everywhere. He played like someone who had been told his time was up and decided, not yet. You could see the fire in his eyes after that rash challenge on Ralston. Normally he's a quiet guy, calm and composed, but not this time. He stood up for his teammate, got stuck in, and showed a side of himself we don't see often, a mix of discipline and pure fight. That's the kind of passion Celtic have been missing lately. It's contagious, and it spreads through the squad like wildfire. The backline, honestly, they were immense. Trusty and Scales played like men possessed. You could see their confidence growing with every pass, driving the ball forward, breaking lines, and refusing to sit deep. That's what we've been crying out for in these derbies. Too often in recent matches against Rangers, Celtic looked hesitant, sitting back, letting the game come to them. Not this time. This was aggression, this was control, and this was belief from the first to the last minute. You could tell Rangers weren't ready for it. Their defense looked shaky from the get-go. One early mistake from their center back summed it all up. Nerves everywhere. The ball rolls under his boot, and the entire stadium feels it. From that moment, you knew who was in charge. Celtic smelled blood and went straight for it. Every time Rangers tried to build from the back, they were smothered. You could see their fans in the stands getting restless, groaning at every misplaced pass, and that only made Celtic grow stronger. Martin O'Neill and Sean Maloney clearly injected something fresh into this squad. It's not about reinventing the wheel. It's about reminding these players who they are. The difference in body language alone is night and day. You've got guys fighting for each other again, celebrating tackles like goals, pressing like madmen. You can't buy that attitude. It comes from pride, from knowing what that badge means. And right now, you can see it. They're playing for Celtic, not just for themselves. Now let's talk about some key moments, because this game had everything. Drama, controversy, tackles flying in, VAR madness, and pure emotion. First off, that early disallowed goal. The lines were drawn, and it was called offside by the narrowest of margins. Honestly, it's one of those decisions that makes you question how accurate the technology really is. Half a frame earlier or later, and it could have stood. But let's be real, Celtic didn't need luck to win this one. They earned it the hard way. Then there was that brutal challenge from Cornelius on Johnny Kenny. You could see it coming. Late, reckless, studs up. Could easily have been a red. Kenny's lucky to walk away from it. But somehow, it barely got a mention afterward, because all the talk was about other incidents. That's what always happens in these derbies. Rangers lose, and suddenly it's the referee's fault. It's the same old story every single time Celtic come out on top. And what about Asgard's tackle on Ralston? No debate there. That was a straight red all day long. You could freeze the frame and see the intent. He had time to pull out. He saw Ralston coming, and he left his studs in. It's reckless, it's dangerous, and it's exactly the kind of moment that changes games. But you know what I loved most? It wasn't the red card. It was the reaction. Maeda flying in to defend his teammate, McGregor barking orders, everyone backing each other up. That's the fight you need in these fixtures. Even when Trusty got caught in that weird tangle with Butland, where his boot grazed the keeper's head, there was drama. Some were calling for a red, but come on. That was no malice, no intent. Just one of those moments where a player's caught in the motion of a challenge. A yellow is fair. Compare that to the earlier tackle from his guard, and there's no contest. Trusty was immense otherwise, strong, composed, commanding. Exactly what you need from a center half in a match like that. Then came the Ralston penalty incident. You could see the confusion in real time. He dives in to block a shot, gets nudged, the ball clips his arm, and suddenly the ref points to the spot. Honestly, it's harsh. What's he supposed to do? Teleport out the way. His arm's tucked in. He's falling, and yet somehow it's still a penalty. That's the inconsistency that drives everyone mad. But again, that's not the story here. The story is that Celtic didn't crumble after it. They dug in, fought harder, and made sure the better team came out on top. And that's what separates this performance from so many of the others we've seen in the past year. It wasn't about luck, or decisions, or VAR. It was about desire. Celtic looked like a team reborn, a team with pride. You could see it in Callum McGregor, running himself into the ground, barking at teammates, leading by example. You could see it in Maeda's relentless pressing, in Johnny Kenny's sharpness, in the confidence flowing through every player on that pitch. This one wasn't just about beating Rangers. It was about reminding everyone, including themselves, what this club stands for. Passion, energy, fearlessness. The kind of football that makes the fans sing louder, that makes the stadium shake, that makes you proud to wear the green and white. If you thought the first half was intense, the second half took it to another level. The noise inside the stadium was unreal. Every tackle, every run, every interception got a roar from the stands like it was a goal. Celtic came back out not to protect a lead, but to bury the game. You could see it in their shape, in their pressing, in the way the midfield hunted in packs. It was relentless. Rangers tried to reset, to play their way back into the match, but Celtic just never gave them the chance to breathe. It was as if the team had decided that this wasn't going to be a contest anymore. It was going to be a statement. Maeda continued to run himself into the ground. You could see the sweat dripping from him as he closed down defenders, forcing mistake after mistake. Every time Rangers tried to play out from the back, Maeda was there, sprinting like it was the first minute. That kind of effort infects the whole team. Suddenly you've got McGregor pushing higher, Kenny chasing lost causes, and even the defenders stepping up to win every second ball. It's the kind of unity that only comes when everyone believes in what they're doing. And you could tell that belief was flowing through every player in green and white. Trusty was a rock at the back, reading the game like a veteran, stepping in just when Rangers thought they had a chance to turn. Scales matched him stride for stride, cool under pressure, brave on the ball. They weren't just defending, they were starting attacks. The number of times they carried the ball 30 or 40 yards up the pitch set the tone. That confidence rippled through the side. It's been missing for too long, but it's back now, and it feels brilliant to see. One moment that summed it all up came just before the hour mark. Celtic were already leading, but they refused to sit back. McGregor picked the ball up near halfway, looked up, and instead of playing it safe, he drove forward through two Rangers midfielders. The crowd erupted because that's the Celtic way. Never settle, never slow down, always look to punish. That attack ended with another corner, and from that corner came the goal that sealed it. A perfectly whipped ball into the box, chaos everywhere, and Johnny Kenny rising to meet it. You could see it coming before it even hit the net. But when it did, the place exploded. The celebration said it all. Players piling on top of each other, fans bouncing, the noise deafening. It wasn't just a goal. It was relief, joy, pride, all rolled into one. It felt like the weight of the last few months had been lifted off everyone's shoulders. This wasn't a team playing with pressure anymore. This was a team playing with purpose. What stood out to me most was how composed Celtic stayed even after the chaos of that goal. Usually in these fixtures, momentum swings wildly. One goal, one red card, one VAR call, and everything changes. But this time, Celtic were ice cold. Every player knew their role. Every line of play felt rehearsed, drilled, but still full of emotion. That's the sweet spot in football, when discipline meets passion. And I've got to say, seeing players like Tony Ralston have a game like that was special. He's had his critics, people talking about his limits, his position in the squad, but he went out there and played like a warrior, throwing himself into tackles, blocking crosses, shouting orders. That's the kind of attitude that wins derbies. He might not be the flashiest name in the lineup, but he's pure Celtic, through and through. Then there's Callum McGregor. What a captain's performance. You could tell he was loving every minute of it, leading the press, keeping possession calm when things got heated, and setting the tempo. You can't buy leadership like that. It's built over years, through battles like this. Watching him marshal the midfield like a general made you realize just how important he is to everything Celtic do. When he's on it, everyone else lifts their level. And let's be honest, this game could have easily gone sideways with the amount of drama the officials had to deal with. But Celtic kept their cool. The penalty incident, the fouls, the shouts from the opposition bench, none of it knocked them off their rhythm. That's what maturity looks like. A few months ago, under the pressure of a derby like this, maybe the composure cracks. Not now. You could see O'Neill and Maloney on the touchline urging calm, telling the lads to keep the ball, to play smart. And they did, to perfection. When Rangers finally pulled one back, there wasn't even a flicker of panic. The response was instant. Celtic went straight up the pitch, pressed high, and won back control. That's how you know this team's mindset has changed. They're not afraid anymore. They don't crumble when things go wrong. They fight back harder. The final whistle was more than just the end of a match. It was the sound of a team rediscovering its identity. Players embracing, fans singing their hearts out, banners waving. You could see the joy on faces that hadn't smiled like that in weeks. After everything that's happened, the managerial changes, the tension, the uncertainty, Celtic stood tall and reminded everyone what this club is about. Passion, fight, pride, and football that makes you believe. What made it all the sweeter was knowing that this wasn't a fluke. This wasn't a lucky win. This was dominance. From the first minute to the last, Celtic were the better team. The work rate, the movement, the confidence, it all clicked. And you can't help but think this might just be the start of something. Because if this is what the players can produce after a week of turmoil, imagine what they can do once the dust settles and they start building real momentum again. Every fan walking out of that stadium knew they'd witnessed something special, not just because of the score, but because of the way Celtic played, with heart, with unity, with joy. You could see young fans looking up at their heroes, wide-eyed, dreaming of being part of that someday. That's what football is all about. It connects generations, it lifts spirits, it gives people hope. And Celtic gave their supporters all of that in one unforgettable afternoon. Before we proceed, subscribe to our channel and enable notifications to receive all exclusive news about Celtic FC. Don't miss any details about your favorite team. It's extremely important for Celtic FC fans. Whispers around Parkhead have reached a fever pitch this week as Celtic fans are abuzz with the latest twist in their squad saga. The talk of the town? None other than Angus Gunn, whose name has been linked with Premier League stops and championship dashes, has apparently put pen to paper and is set to guard the Hoops goalposts. The rumor mill suggests that Gunn, known for his reflexes and commanding presence between the sticks, could be exactly the answer Celtic's gaffer has been craving. Insiders hint that negotiations were swift, almost shockingly so, and the whispers suggest that Gunn's arrival isn't just a casual signing but a statement of intent. The shot-stopper, who has often been praised for his distribution and sharp thinking under pressure, is expected to bring not only security but also a touch of flair to a defense that's seen its fair share of jitters. Among the terraces, fans are already dreaming of those last-minute saves and dramatic stops that could turn a tight league clash into another memorable Parkhead moment. There's chatter that Gunn's presence might push the current keeper hierarchy into a state of flux. Will the incumbent feel the heat, or will this spark a rivalry that lifts the standards across the board? Sources close to the club won't confirm the figures involved, but there's a sense that Celtic have gone all in, gambling on Gunn's experience and temperament to fortify a squad eager to reclaim domestic dominance and make waves in European waters. While the deal has yet to be officially showcased with the usual pomp, the corridors of Celtic Park are already humming. Supporters, ever passionate and quick to dissect every scrap of news, are poring over photos, past performances, and interviews in a bid to size up their possible new custodian. If the rumors hold true, Angus Gunn could soon become a household name north of the border, slamming the door on any thoughts of shaky finishes and turning Parkhead into a fortress once again. Whether it's all smoke and mirrors or the start of a new chapter for the Hoops, one thing's clear. The Celtic faithful are talking, the speculation is roaring, and the prospect of Gunn standing tall under the floodlights has sparked a fresh wave of excitement that Parkhead hasn't felt in seasons. Hello, fan. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, as it means a lot to Celtic FC. Also, share your opinion about the news in the comments below. See you in the next video.